Make parts non-stop but never get them shipped? Okay, boss. I still have nightmares from working in this company. So I thought I would share one of my stories. Background. I worked at a factory that I absolutely loved. Loved the boss. My manager, now called Head A, really knew his work and would teach anyone that showed enthusiasm. But then the company merged. And we suddenly had in my section 3 managers trying to prove their worth, who all turned into massive A's. The place quickly turned into every man for himself. For example, the 10 minutes I spent patching up a coworker before he went to hospital came at the cost of being screamed at, then forced to stay back to make up for my timesheets being out. Can tell more tales of this another time. And while my section needed 5 people to run, the way they managed it, people walked out, and it came down to me alone. I would have 3 different managers come to yell at me but not help or hire people to do the work. Seriously. It would be like a drive-by shooting how fast they would come in, scream and run out. I was desperate to quit but living paycheck to paycheck. Things were brutally hard. My role was to run a CNC router, but had to run 2 of them as I am now alone. Complete the parts, and get it ready to send to the customer. Often from start to ship. My parts are only handled by me. This is not normal. Normally you would someone to help complete the parts. As I am alone, I have to keep up with the machine. It makes sense to have the machine off at times during the day, while I get things completed. You could expect a screaming if the place was messy at the end of the day. Ballistic screaming. Now for the story. Keep in mind this is 15 plus years ago, so might not be 100% accurate. I had machined a stack of parts and there was no way I could in my right mind make more parts until I had done the post-processing and had these parts ready to be shipped. There were things that had to be sent that day. Head A. Why aren't the machines running? Quote. Me. I am really behind in this and Head A. Why aren't the machines running? Quote. Me. This is really urgent. Let me get this part sent and I can run the machines after I finish this. Now absolutely screaming and throwing shit. Get the fucking machines running and on. He starts berating me and saying that the post-processing wasn't important and running the machines was the most important and that I had to keep the machines running no matter what, and that post-processing can be done by anyone in the factory but I am the only one who can run the machines. So I have to run them and keep them running no matter what. Cue malicious compliance. For the entire week, I did exactly what he asked. I ran both machines. I would load the programs for the next job while the machine was still running its existing job. Tool holders were lined up and ready to go. While the machines are running, I would sprint from the machines to the material racks to get materials I needed for the next job ready. I ran those machines non-stop. I did 0 post-processing as I did not have a spare minute. Nothing was finished to stage where it could be shipped. There wasn't even time for breaks. I made sure those machines ran without a minute of downtime. By end of the week, I had machined so many parts that I had filled up 3 massive workbenches. These benches were something like 3 meters by 1.5 meters long. And I just kept stacking the piles as high as I could. The best thing is that the urgent work is now on the bottom of this pile. And the work due next week was on top. This is literally hundreds of different customers' orders. I don't remember the hours I pulled at this exact time, but I have done shifts such as 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 80-hour weeks without overtime pay were usual for me. When shit finally hit the fan about work not being sent out, Head A had to come and talk to me. And you could see something snap in his head while he was trying to talk to me. Head and on. Me. Sorry, not now. I have to run the machine. I just ignored him and kept setting up the next job. Head stop. Just stop. He starts by trying to ask where XXX job is, and I am just like gesturing. It's under there, man. I swear you could see him dying inside. He starts berating me on how there is no point turning the machines on at all unless the work is completed all the way and sent. He really got stuck into me. But then he's like, just leave the machine off for now and start completing these jobs. But then we both start on completing different parts, and within a minute, he sees me and instantly get the machines running anon, and I think it's here when he realized that it's all his fault. And as I am walking back to the machine, I swear he looks up at the roof, screams FFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFF Remembering this, he yells at me, leave it off. And as I start finishing parts again, he looks at me and he's about to say the line again, but instead looks up at the roof and screams again. It was like every time he saw me, he wanted to say it. He lasted maybe 10 minutes before he couldn't take it anymore. He storms off and sent someone over to help. But all the urgent work was buried deep. We had to complete non-urgent work first to get it out of the way, so that we could find it. And guess who suddenly left work on time every day and stopped working weekends? In short, with people helping me, it took over 2 weeks to catch up and clear the backlog. Those urgent parts were at least 2 weeks late. It took a lot longer for the schedule to return to normal. TLDR. Manager insists I run machines non-stop, and results in all work being severely delayed. The only way people will learn is if you beat them at their own game. Seems like the guy was actually broken. Like fully not okay. People are probably going to ask questions about why overtime wasn't paid. So here's a bit extra info. The place was almost a paradise when I first joined. Yeah, you worked hard. The pay was crap, but they paid overtime and a bonus. Bonus applies to all, so it's an all or nothing deal. To make up for low wages. After they brought out a few companies, the place slowly started going to shit. The targets for bonuses were not met. Everyone not on a timesheet just did the bare minimum. But things got worse. To meet the deadlines, the other half worked harder and it cost more in overtime. So overtime was turned off. And yet the deadlines were the same. I remember working sun and long hours with others that were unpaid and desperate, and we made the bonus. But it's bittersweet. For me, the bonus was essentially earning $4 for every hour of overtime. While for the others that did bare minimum, it was 20% of their entire monthly income. The place made the machine operators keep detailed timesheets. If they gave you 1 hour to complete a task and it took you 2 hours, they either admit they made a quoting mistake and take 1 hour from everyone's bonus, or they throw you under the bus and take 1 hour from your timesheet. They would not even requote the job at a higher rate for the future. Because now they have covered their quoting mistake by making it look like a 2-hour job as 1 hour. So you now have a 1-hour gap. If your entire week is work like this, even though you worked 40 hours, you have 20 hours of gaps, and can expect to be forced to work weekends to make up for it. But it's more twisted than that. You could work extra hours, and then the timesheet is now based on those hours, not your paid hours. So you still have gaps. I.e., work 12 hours in a day, paid for 8. But they think you could have done that 12 hours of work in 10. Therefore you have a 2-hour gap and need to stay back extra 2 hours unpaid the next day. I would constantly have gaps. Sometimes from quoting problems, but mainly from helping coworkers, or even performing first aid. But the favor was never returned. Before I left, I spent 6 months training up 5 people for my section. And I quit. Within a few weeks they had people quitting. It didn't take long before they had to sell off their machines. And eventually the boss sold the factory. What are you doing posting on Reddit? Get the machines running. Managers. The smartest dumb people you'll ever meet. Head-on needs a hug and a beer. I'm really confused about the payoff paragraph about who was saying what and who was helping in. What specifically was going on? Was Head-on the one yelling? Was he the one who complained initially? Was he the one who helped? It would be like a drive-by shooting how fast they would come in, scream and run out. This is known as a seagull manager. They fly in, make a lot of noise, shit all over everything, and fly away.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.